In a recent video, I had this interview at iHeartRadio. It was really dope, went really well. And I promised myself I wouldn't talk about anything else other than this year. And I'm going to stay true to that. For the most part, I'm going to see how God has me do it. But of course, at the What's the Word tour, shout out to the gear, you already know. If you've been to any of the first Reclaim states, get that. I'm going to be talking about it. I don't plan on preaching another message outside of this because I think it's important. We're living in a time, I can't lie to y'all, it's getting so crazy. And you really need to get to know God for yourself. I'm going to address it actually in this series, but not for this particular portion. But we need to get to know God. And I'm just giving this study away because it blessed me and it's so encouraging. I lie to you guys not. Like this thing, it's studying the names of God. I'm going to give it to you how God gave it to me. He told me, son, I want you to really look up all the different names of God and how I revealed myself to people in the Old Testament. He said, I want you to literally see who I introduced myself to when I introduced that side of me, number one. Number two, why did I introduce myself in that way to them? And what happened beforehand, right before I introduced myself to that particular person in that way. And it's so profound to me. And then also, forgive me, and then who was it that I introduced myself to? And he was teaching me about just who he really is. And I was talking about in the interview, like the law of first mention. When something's first mentioned in the Bible, it's very important that you pay attention. Not going to get too deep into that right now, but I really have been blessed by this study, and I think that it'll change a lot of people's lives. And the reason why we need to get to know God for ourselves is because there's a lot of people misrepresenting God right now. Again, I'm not going to get into that for this particular portion, but I am going to address it in this 2024 series. Very vital. We get to know God, the voice of God, the character of God, the personality of God, the fruit of the Holy Spirit, who He is for ourselves. We're not going to wait for anyone to just teach us, but we want to pick up the word and study for ourselves. We want to rightly divide the word for ourselves because we need to know Him. I love being known by God, and I just love how the more I grow in God, the more I learn about God. And you never get tired about learning about God, and every time you learn about His name, just enjoy it. Learn about Jehovah Jireh, learn about Jehovah Nisi, learn about Jehovah Rapha. Oh my God, learn about El Roy, learn about El Shaddai. I'm telling you, y'all, like, you really want to get to know who God is for yourself. It'll change everything. This is not going to be a long session for this portion of the series, but I just wanted to make sure that's solidified. That's a study that you can do. Write that down so you can have it. Study the names of God. When He first appeared and introduced Himself to people, who He introduced Himself to, and what happened right before that. Meaning that could be the chapter before, or just to get the full context of what happened before that God introduced Himself in that way. I'm telling you, and when you come to really know Yahweh, His names carry so much weight, but it's beautiful because you really get to know God for yourself.